Alright gamers, we have had huge news today on the Wuthering Waves front. Kuro Games has given us a little nugget of information. The version 1.1 preview is sitting right in front of me. I'm a little surprised. I was kind of waiting yesterday for like a live stream announcement. I'm not so sure that a live stream will be happening now after reading this. They kind of like dropped a lot of info. They haven't shown like any high-res videos or images of the new characters or the new zone. So I have a feeling maybe they'll drop like a trailer or something, but a little surprised, no live stream. I'll have to think on that, but that's for another video. In this video, I just wanted to talk about some things we can do now that we have some of this information to better prepare ourselves to make sure that we are done with 1.0 and we're ready to go into 1.1, baby. I am going to try to keep this video as spoiler and leak free as possible, but I mean, this video is called Get Prepared for 1.1. I'm gonna go over this document that they dropped a little bit. Probably just click off if you want to stay like completely blind going into this first patch of Wuthering Waves. But without further ado, let us get into the meat and potatoes. My first tip has to do with echoes and some information that they dropped on echoes today that I totally wasn't aware about this before at all. Crazy! I wasn't expecting this at all. After the version 1.1 update, the level cap for the databank will be raised to level 21. We're up from 20 to 21 already in 1.1. After reaching level 21, all echoes dropped will be guaranteed to be 5-star rarity. Holy cow. So this is huge because not only will this help when you are echo farming, but let me show you what this also implies with this data merge feature. So previously the strat was to wait until you were Union level 40 to get that level 20 data bank, so that you would have that sweet 80% chance of getting a 5-star rarity. Now the case will be to wait until 50 or whenever level 21 databank unlocks, because I'm not gonna lie, I waited for the 80-20 and I low rolled so hard on that. Like, it was so bad. So I'm so excited for that 100%. That being said, I think that a lot of people might have started like making this a regular thing, and maybe their daily or even weekly activity was to just kind of roll all their echoes into this, just so they don't have to do it all in a big chunk like we did when we hit level 40. So my advice to you guys now that we know we're gonna get that 100% chance, is to save all the echoes you get from now until whenever you get level 21, which will at least be until 1.1 drops, because once that drops, you're gonna be able to put all of these in there and ensure that you get those 5-star echoes. Because I tell you what, like, I swear it did not feel like 80-20 here at databank level 20. It was awful. All right, this next tip, I am gonna warn you guys, is gonna be especially spoilerly. So if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, please click off. But the way that I sort of play these Hoyo games, and I guess Wuthering Waves kind of gets pushed into that genre now, is basically, you know, we start and I get a good amount of teams up, and then, like, you know, for Genshin from 1.0 to probably about 3.4, I rolled on every single character that came out. Now, I understand not everyone is going to do this, but I'm just speaking from my perspective. What I would do for each character is to pre-farm all of the materials that I could, so that right when they came out and right when I missed my 50-50 and got a my 17th D-Luke, and then I went and actually got the character, then I could just immediately level them to 90 and start playing with them right away. That is how I enjoy the game, and I think that's how most people enjoy the game too. So I'm telling you right now, if you want to be prepared so that right when Jinhsi comes out, you can play her, I would start pre-farming now. You have a week, and I think that's ample enough time to get her to like level 70 or level 80, depending on where you're at. Okay guys, so as I said, I am not a leaker, and actually how I found some of this information out is I have a commenter on one of my Wuthering Waves videos. They're a time traveler. And so they DM'd me and they told me some of the materials that you may or may not need for Jinhsi. So let me show you a couple of those. I've already started pre-farming the talent materials and hopefully your sword materials, you know, if it comes true. What that time traveler said. So I have a few of these. You're going to need these circly ones, the residues. And then she is a Spectro character, so you're going to need some Morning Aches cores. And I'm not going to give you the number because everyone's a different level, so they're going to need a varying amount of these materials, but you know, do the math. I'm not a mathematician, I'm a YouTuber. Besides the Ascension materials and the weapon and skill materials, I would make sure that you have some of these. Where are they? The Howler cores, which, I mean, it's like, who's short on these? We get a ton when we're echo farming, but if you are, go farm some of these. You're also going to need a lot of shell credits. Make sure, I mean, personally, I'm going to try to have like upwards of 750k to get her all the way to 80 and get her skills at a reasonable level and her weapon or whatever. So make sure you got the money. What else? Oh, the time traveler did inform me that unfortunately these, like, the big boss skill materials are not going to be available until 1.1, and same goes for the overworld plants that you go around and collect. So can't do much about that if you want to believe that time traveler. But hopefully they'll be in the pharmacy when the patch drops, and in that case, just save a little bit more money so you can get yourself started. Other than that, I've also been farming a Spectro set, because as I said, Jinhsi is going to be a Spectro character, so I've done my best to start farming this. I have a ton of 1 costs. I think I've only gotten 1 3 cost onset Spectro damage echo, and I haven't even tried to roll it, so we'll see how that goes. But definitely something you can do. Also, if you have kind of forgotten about these like I haven't used any of these yet, the malleable elite class echoes, you might consider using that for your Jinhsi to get a Spectro damage piece, which will be very nice on her, I believe. Besides that, of course, I didn't think I had to say it, but just to be sure, you're going to need some Echo XP, you're going to need some Resonator XP, and you're going to need some Weapon XP items, just to make sure you can get her all the way up to whatever level you're going to get her, whatever is your max so far, and you can start enjoying her right when the patch drops. That is the way I play the game, and I think you're going to have a lot better time doing that rather than getting her and then like slowly upgrading her over a couple weeks. So that's just my advice to you, and there is what you need if you are going that route. All right, this next one is kind of big because it encompasses a whole checklist that I have made here to ensure that you've done all of the 1.0 stuff that you should do to, one, ensure that you don't have to go back and do this while you're trying to do the shiny new content, and two, to make sure that you have like the most Union XP and free-to-play gems as possible. So first on that checklist is going to be your quests. If you haven't done the main story quest, or you've kind of been putting it off, just finish it up because you're not going to be able to go and complete that new zone without it. Then, as you can see here, Slacker McGee, I have not done the Yinland quests. So there's a couple companion missions. They give you a lot of good rewards. This is top of my list this weekend. I've heard this is really good, but you know, I play a bunch of gachas. I got a full-time job. Now I'm YouTubing. It's like zero time. So bear with me here. But besides even the companion stories, a lot of the side quests are pretty rewarding. I've done most of those, but it can be a pretty good source of free-to-play gems and good old Union XP. We could all use some of that. So first, get all of your quests done. After this, what I'm going to do, because this is such a limited thing, is I'm going to look here at Depths of Elusive Realm, and I'm going to ensure that I have maxed this gauge out and bought everything from the store that I can. So as you can see, this is another thing that I haven't done and is on my top priority list, because this is free rewards for just playing the game that are going to go away as soon as the new patch drops. They did announce in the developer notes that a new version will be dropping. So get this done, as well as your Tower of Adversity. Now, I know that not everyone is going to be able to complete this, but again, these are free rewards that are going to go away. Even if you can't push all the way, even if you can't get 30 out of 30 stars, get as many as you can. It'll only take you a few minutes to just give it your best shot and get some free gems to help on your Jinhsi pulls, your Changli pulls. Next limited thing that I want you guys to check on is your Oscillated Coral Shop. And this is a shop. You don't see them here because I've bought mine already, but you can get, I think, 5 pulls from each, like a standard banner version and the limited banner version. You'll get 5 pulls for each, and even if you've only done a couple of pulls, you should have enough to buy those out. Make sure that you get those. These don't reset monthly, they reset patch by patch in this game, so make sure that you get those basically free pulls before they're gone forever. And lastly, what you guys should ensure that you have done as much as you can of before this new patch drops is something that I am personally slacking on a lot. But if you've watched my previous videos, you might know that I'm not a huge open world guy. That being said, I do need to work on this a little bit. You can go down here and look at your progress for some of these zones. I'm not doing awful, but I mean 55 is pretty pathetic. And I could definitely work on this more. At the least, I am planning to get the Sonnets cassettes done, just because this is the most like free. I'm not going to go around and get every chest, but especially if you're free to play, this is definitely worth it to like full clear this map to ensure you have as much materials, as much XP, and also as much gems going into 1.1. So get this done last. Alright, this next tip is a super quick one and maybe something that a lot of gamers have done already, but this is the perfect time to make sure that your settings are perfect, particularly because we're going into a new story quest where, if you didn't notice, there is a lot of camera shenanigans. So what I have done recently is turned pretty much all of these off. There's still going to be some instances where it forces you to lock onto a target, even though I have assisted aiming off, but turning off these and kind of messing with your sensitivity to however you'd like them is something to do right now and not while you're doing the main quest. So just go into your settings, make sure these are all up to your liking to ensure that your game is going to feel as good as possible when you're out exploring that new world and doing that new quest. All right, this last tip is a little bit nuanced, but I think that it is probably the most important one on this whole list that I've compiled here. And what I'm going to call it is to be aware of the field and to be wise with your spending. And I know it's like, do you need me to tell you that? But let me just explain. I feel like these games, these Hoyo games and now Wuthering Waves, they're so good that they draw a lot of players in that aren't traditional gacha players. And they get drawn into the gameplay, and they're especially susceptible to these predatory tactics that are used in gacha games that us, you know, traditional gacha players that are smarter than everyone. No, I'm not saying that, but we've kind of built up this barrier and knowledge of how to avoid the predatory tactics, or pretend like we avoid them. The reason that I'm including this in this tips for 1.1 video is that not only is this new Wuthering Waves patch coming out that's going to tempt you to spend more money, but there's also, in the next 48 hours, Firefly coming out and Honkai Star Rail, which is like one of the most hyped characters in that game that's coming out, and a lot of people are going to want to spend on her. And then, just a week after 1.1 comes out, we have Zenless Zone Zero, a completely new gacha game that's going to have a whole nother set of hot waifus that we all want to have 3D models of. It's like, there's going to be so many things just coming at you. Spend money on me, spend money on me. And I guess that I just wanted to include this in here to kind of attempt to be your conscience a little bit if you're on the fence or struggling with the desire to pull for all of these. Jinhsi is going to be 1 in a million main DPS. This game is going to be out forever, and Jinhsi is going to get power crept eventually. Do you really need her if you're going to spend on ZZZ or Honkai or Genshin, whatever character is coming out in that video game? You know, really think about your options. I know that you probably don't need some YouTuber to tell you, but just wanted to give you a quick little reminder from a gacha gamer who has definitely spent too much money, that it's not always worth it. But with that fun little tidbit there, that is all the tips that I have for you guys. I hope it was a little bit helpful. I'm super excited for this patch. I mean, it feels so quick. I guess it was like a little bit shortened. It was only 5 weeks, but it feels like this game just came out and we're already getting new content. Hype. So yeah, let me guys know if you have any more tips down in the comments, if you're gonna pull on Jinhsi or not, or if you're gonna be wise, spend on ZZZ, spend on Firefly. Let me know what you guys are doing. Please, if you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe. Thank you for watching this long, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.